It has a helper molecule called RNA, which is made when DNA unzips and gives a single strand to a helper molecule that copies it. This new RNA strand will carry instructions out of the nucleus to the rest of the cell. Now let's talk about the powerhouse of the cell, the mitochondria. There are many of these bean-shaped organelles floating around inside the cell. Mitochondria are responsible for generating energy in the form of a molecule called ATP. It's like fuel for all the other activities the cell does. This process of making ATP takes place in several steps, kind of like an assembly line. First, the mitochondria takes in nutrients like glucose and oxygen. Then it breaks down the nutrients in a series of chemical reactions, releasing energy in the process. Finally, the energy is used to make ATP molecules that the cell can use as currency. Fun fact, scientists think that mitochondria were once free-floating bacteria that were engulfed by early cells. This event changed the course of evolution because it provided cells with the ability to harness energy much more efficiently. But we're not done yet. Let's move on to the ribosomes. Now, these guys are pretty small, but they do a big job. Ribosomes are responsible for building proteins. Remember those proteins I mentioned earlier? Well, they're the workhorses of the cell, doing everything from transporting molecules to fighting off infections. Ribosomes follow instructions from the nucleus to assemble proteins from building blocks called amino acids. They read the code on messenger RNA, which is like a recipe book that tells them which amino acids to put together. Once a ribosome finishes making a protein, it releases it into the cell where it can fold into its final shape and do its job. Okay, now let's talk about another important part of the cell, the endoplasmic reticulum, or ER for short. The ER is a network of membranes that folds and twists throughout the cell. There are two types of ER, rough ER and smooth ER. Rough ER gets its name from the ribosomes that are attached to its surface. This close relationship between the ER and ribosomes is actually pretty important. The proteins that ribosomes make can be modified and folded properly thanks to the ER. One of the main jobs of the smooth ER is to make lipids like cholesterol and steroid hormones. It also helps with detoxifying harmful substances. Next up, we have the Golgi apparatus. This organelle is like the shipping department of the cell. As proteins move through the Golgi, they're modified, sorted, and packaged for delivery to their final destination.